Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time.
7:36 on TSN 690. It is Weekend Game Plan. I'm your host, Matthew Ross. We're here till 9 o'clock. Brought to you by deadhitsports.com. Still to come, 8:05, we'll have our Habs breakfast segment. Bunch of texts coming in, 11690 if you want to text the program. I just ranted on crazies and clowns that don't appreciate what Michel Therrien is doing. And we got a bunch of texts that came in. I'm not a huge Therrien fan, but I'm positive his golf tournament comments were sarcastic after 5-6 people came up to him and questioned the leadership in the locker room. He snapped and said something like, "What do you want me to say? That Max is the worst captain in Canadiens history?" Then it became a story. JF. Yeah, that probably is what happened. There's a lot of people out there that were looking to string this guy up for no reason. Matthew, you're a little worked up for 7 o'clock in the morning. People also voted for Donald Trump. Never underestimate the stupidity of the dummies. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I like that. And then we have a clown, right? Coach should have been fired last year. Everyone knows it. Really? You know that there's 30 teams, right? And by the way, this person didn't sign his name, right? Didn't have the bravado to sign his name. You know there's 30 teams in the NHL, right? And not every team can be leading their division, right? You know that. You know it's not an easy thing to do, right? With Torrey Mitchell as your second-line center. Come on. What's up with these people? More Habs talk at 8:05. Let's bring in our next guest from La Presse Canadienne, at Fred Daigle on Twitter. He covers everything, really. He's got about 9 different notebooks that he has to work on every year because they just fill up. He's always covering something. We bring in Fred Daigle. Salut, Fred, ça va?
Bonjour, Mathieu. Very well. How are you doing?
I'm good. The big question to start the year is, have you done anything to the recipe for the pancakes on Saturday mornings in the Daigle household?
Nothing has changed. You don't change a classic. So
good answer.
Going to be using the same recipe over and over again.
Good answer, my friend.
No. The two girls asked for something new, but so far they're counting the days until the next Saturday, so it must be good.
All right. Now, how old are the girls?
7 and 4.
Ooh, you know what? I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. So maybe,
so you know all about pancakes,
and they're bilingual, Fred. I'm thinking maybe we speak to the wives and let them organize a play date, and you and I go watch a sporting event. What do you think?
Well, that would be great because you know, like me, we like to talk about it. We have less and less time to watch some sports.
Oh, wait! I just remember we're on air and people are listening. Let's talk sports. No. Before we get into a couple of items, I just want to get your quick take, Fred, on the job that Michel Therrien has done with the Canadiens this year. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, that some people don't appreciate what he's done this year?
Well, this year and for the last 4 years, really, I wasn't a big fan of Michel Therrien coming back, but you can't criticize their choice. I mean, the guy has been first or second in his association, in his conference since he's back, and with the plethora of injured players he has to deal with this year, and this team is still number one. I mean, he must be doing something right. He pushes all the right buttons. And seriously, even though I'm not a fan of Michel Therrien, you have to acknowledge his ability to micro-coach, if I could say, during games. I mean, if a line doesn't work, he sees it in the first 5 shifts and he switches it. I think he might be one of the best coaches to do on-the-spot changes to his lineup in the NHL.
Chatting with Fred Daigle from La Presse Canadienne here on Weekend Game Plan with Matthew Ross. We're here till 9 o'clock. Habs breakfast coming up at 8:05. Sean Gordon of the Globe and Mail will join us, as well as Amanda Stein here of TSN 690 in studio. All right, let's shift gears. The other big story happening right now as we get closer and closer to January 18th and it being official and hopefully making a lot of Canadians and Montrealers and Quebecers happy. It looks like, Fred, that Tim Raines will get into the Hall of Fame this year. He's currently tracking on Ryan Thibodeau. If you follow him on Twitter, not Mr. Tibbs, he's tracking all of the publicly declared or revealed ballots from Baseball Hall of Fame writers, and we're now up to 40.5% of known ballots, and Tim Raines is at 91.5%. and he only needs 75%. He's looking really good right now to make the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, you and I know what we're doing on July 30th, huh? We're going to be in Cooperstown.
Oh, yes, my friend.
This is, I think everything's possible, but hey, on the remaining 60-odd% ballots, he would need to have his name written less than 64% of the times. I don't see that happening. I think Tim Raines is a lock for the Hall of Fame, finally, and good for him because it's his last year on the ballot. What a career! What a great guy! Even though I didn't have the chance to be around the team when Tim Raines was playing, I was lucky enough to have a few chats with him. He's a coach. He's a roaming coach with the Blue Jays now, and he's in Montreal every chance he's got, especially when the team is around. And what a great guy! What a great player! We're about the same age. He was lights out, one of the best players in the league. Even that was spectacular watching Tim Raines play, and to finally have his work recognized by all the Hall of Fame voters, spectacular. What a great crowning of a superb career that will be. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if people didn't see Tim Raines, but they're baseball fans, maybe they're rooting for the Jays right now, or they were Expo fans at the end when Tim Raines wasn't still active. This is going to be a celebration of Montreal baseball in Cooperstown, July 30th. Of course, my background working with Expos Nation, we had 2 buses last year going down for Pedro Martinez, and I think the cost was only like $55 or $60 round trip. You left at 6:30. You were back late at night. It was a wonderful trip. We'll do the same thing this year for Tim Raines. I urge a lot of people to get on board because this is how you show the baseball world that baseball means a lot in Montreal, regardless of whether you saw Tim Raines play or not.
And you know what? I think Tim Raines might be the last players getting in Cooperstown with an Expos hat. Because I'm not sure about Vlad. If Vlad gets in, I don't think Vlad will get in this year. He's at 64.4% right now.
Well, no, I'm looking at the tracker. It's 74.4, but you're right. He was at 77, 76, 75% recently, so it is trending downwards.
Yeah, and if you look at Ryan Thibodeau's work for the last few years, people tend to lose some votes when all the ballots are revealed because I don't know why, but for some reasons the voting is a bit higher for the known ballots. Well, it makes sense though because when you don't have the total, you don't have the right figures. But
well, the unknown ballots, I think a lot of the guys who don't reveal also don't vote all 10 positions on the ballot, and that's why you see a lot of people fall. Sure.
That's it. And my point on Vlad was that he won an MVP with the Angels. He was in the playoffs with the Angels. Los Angeles is a huge market, so he might go in with a blank cap, though, like Greg Maddux did. Because it's about, even though he has more hits and more home runs and more RBIs with the Expos, I think that his seasons with the Angels, especially with the MVP, will maybe force the Hall of Fame authorities to put him through with a blank cap. But
two things that help him, I think, or Expos fans to get him into the Hall as an Expo. 2 things that help him. One, he most likely won't get in this year. Had he gotten in this year, there's no way they would have allowed 2 guys with Expos in the same year. I think that would have been disastrous from a public relations perspective. So if he goes in next year, there's a better chance at least. And then the second thing is, publicly, you're seeing Guerrero come back here every year now and warming up to the idea of him being an alumni of this city. And I think that also helps. We're just wrapping up with Fred Daigle from La Presse Canadienne here on Weekend Game Plan with Matthew Ross. Fred, just want to get your take on, it's a new year. We still don't, we know who the GM and the coach are going to be now of the Montreal Alouettes moving forward, but wanted to get your take on where you see this franchise now very quickly and what kind of moves you think or you hear they're going to make in the next couple of months. I did see some encouraging words that maybe Duron Carter's a possibility of returning.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know if it'll make any good in the locker room, though, with Duron Carter. If Duron Carter wants to make some severe changes to his attitude, I think he will come back. But remember that Jacques Chapdelaine is the guy who got him out of this locker. One interesting and one very encouraging news, though, is Nick Lewis coming back. This is the kind of veteran player this team needs to turn around. Last year, he caught for more than 100 passes for more than 1,100 yards. He's just a beast on the field. You can't put him down. So when you need some yards, you give the ball to Nick Lewis and you get through. And when you have young quarterbacks, you need receivers like that don't drop any balls and get the chains moving. So Nick Lewis is a great signature for the Montreal Alouettes. I'm really glad he's coming back. Now, if they can add some veteran presence at QB, and so far as unless he signed this night, and I haven't seen it, Ron Carter will be a free agent, a veteran quarterback from the Rough Riders, and that would make, in my view, a great mentor for either Cato, Rakeem Cato, or I have a blank now.
Vernon
Adams
Yep.
Jr.
Yep.
So they need to get better offensively, and they need to make sure that because the defense is getting older too, so they need to make sure that the new blood is coming in to make sure that this defense stays as sharp as it's been for the last 8-10 years now, and so that leaves time for the offense to catch up.
He is Fred Daigle, at Fred Daigle on Twitter. If you have any tips for Montreal sports, surely send them to Fred. He's always on the desk. Fred, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and bonne année.
You're welcome. Bonne année, and Happy New Year to all TSN 690 listeners.